Something is wrong in the NASCAR garage right now. Not wrong like a scandal has broken. Not wrong like someone got caught. Wrong like everyone can feel it, but nobody wants to be the one to say it out loud first. Walk through the garage on a race weekend right now and you will notice something strange. Conversations stop when certain cars roll by. Crew chiefs glance at each other instead of answering questions. Veteran drivers, guys who have never once been afraid to speak their mind, are suddenly choosing their words like they're walking through a minefield. And then there's the silence. The kind of silence that, in this sport, almost never happens. Because right now, two of the loudest, most outspoken personalities in the entire Cup Series have gone quiet, completely quiet. And the timing of that silence is exactly what has insiders, rivals, and fans asking the same unsettling question. What do they know that we don't? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why this story has taken over every garage conversation in NASCAR right now, and why some of the biggest names in this sport believe something bigger is happening behind the curtain than what shows up on the stat sheet. This is NASCAR Report Today. Let's get into it. Before we go further, I want to say something to you directly, not as a script, but as someone who actually means it. This channel only exists because of people like you. Every single subscriber, every comment, every share. It means more than you probably realize. We are not a massive network with a big budget behind us. We are a small, growing community of real NASCAR fans who just want honest, no-nonsense coverage of the sport we love. If you've made it this far into the video, you clearly care about this story. So I'm asking you, from the bottom of my heart, hit that subscribe button. Not for me, but for this community we're building together. Every single person who joins gets us one step closer to turning this into something real. Something that can keep bringing you this kind of in-depth coverage every single week. It costs you nothing. It means everything to us. Okay, let's get back to the story, because it only gets more interesting from here. As we close in on the halfway point of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season, one storyline has completely swallowed every other conversation in the garage, and it centers around two names that, right now, feel impossible to escape: Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin. Between the two of them, they have combined to win 9 of the first 16 races this season. Sit with that number for a second. 9 wins out of 16 races. That means more than half of every checkered flag this year has gone to one of these two drivers. Not one of these two teams, not one of these two manufacturers. Two individual drivers have combined to dominate more than 50% of an entire Cup Series season. In a sport built on parity, built on the idea that any given Sunday, 20 different teams have a shot at victory lane. This is the kind of number that stops people in their tracks. Here's what makes it even stranger. Reddick and Hamlin are not teammates. Not in the traditional sense, anyway. Tyler Reddick drives for 23 Toyvanks Racing. Denny Hamlin drives for Joe Gibbs Racing. Two separate organizations, two separate ownership groups, two separate buildings, separate shops, separate payrolls. But everyone in this sport knows the connection that ties them together: Toyota. Both organizations run under Toyota's racing umbrella. And lately, that relationship has become the single most debated topic behind closed doors in the entire garage. According to multiple reports coming out of the paddock, several competitors have quietly pushed NASCAR officials to take a much closer look at exactly how 23XI Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing function together. And these aren't fringe complaints from drivers nobody's heard of. The names being connected to this push include Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, and Joey Logano. When drivers with that level of resume start raising their hand and asking questions, the sport listens. These are not rookies looking for a scapegoat. These are championship-caliber competitors who have spent their entire careers inside this garage, and they know the difference between bad luck and something that doesn't add up. Now here's the important part, and I want to be very careful with this. The concern being raised isn't that Reddick and Hamlin are talented. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is arguing that these two aren't elite-level drivers. They clearly are. The real question being whispered in the garage is whether the relationship between these two Toyota organizations goes deeper than what fans are allowed to see. One veteran competitor reportedly summarized it like this: after Pocono Raceway, the numbers became impossible to look past, and they understood exactly why people started talking. When two organizations, tied together through the same manufacturer pipeline, start winning at a rate this extreme, people are going to look for an explanation. And that search for an explanation is exactly where one of the most talked about theories in the entire garage has emerged. Some insiders have reportedly started referring to it as a possible hidden operations merger. Let's be completely clear here, because this matters. There is no evidence, none, that anything improper is happening. There is no official NASCAR investigation. There are no findings, no penalties, no statements confirming any wrongdoing whatsoever. What we are talking about is speculation, garage talk, theory. But the theory itself has become impossible to ignore because of how specific it is. The idea floating around suggests that 23 Saints Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing may be functioning less like two separate teams and more like a single six-car super team, sharing development priorities, engineering data, performance insights, and competitive strategy at a level that would give Toyota an enormous structural advantage over Ford and Chevrolet. Again, speculation, not fact. But it's the conversation dominating this sport right now. And what has poured fuel onto this fire is the way the season has unfolded, almost like it was scripted. Early in the year, Tyler Reddick looked completely untouchable. Win after win, the kind of dominant stretch that makes every other team in the garage feel like they're chasing a ghost. For weeks, it felt like the entire field was simply playing for second place behind the 23 Saints Racing program. Then, almost on cue, something shifted. Denny Hamlin and the number 11 team at Joe Gibbs Racing suddenly became the hottest team in the sport. Like a switch flipped, Hamlin started stacking wins. Hamlin started grabbing every headline. Hamlin became the driver every single team in the garage was desperately trying to catch. And that handoff, Reddick's surge fading right as Hamlin's surge began, is exactly what has some rivals raising their eyebrows. One organization heats up. Then, almost like clockwork, the other organization heats up. The timing, according to some competitors, feels too clean, too convenient. One driver reportedly summed up the unease perfectly. The issue isn't that they're fast. The issue is that one side gets hot, and then the other side gets hot. And to some watching closely, it looks less like coincidence and more like coordination. Now, is that true? Nobody knows. It remains completely unproven. But you can understand exactly why this conversation keeps growing louder every single week. Because if you're a Ford team or a Chevrolet team, watching Toyota-aligned organizations combine to win more than half the races on the schedule, you are absolutely going to start demanding answers. Meanwhile, neither 23X Racing nor Joe Gibbs Racing has issued any public response to these allegations. NASCAR itself has not announced any formal investigation. As of right now, there is no confirmed action being taken by the sanctioning body. But there's one more layer to this story. And honestly, this might be the part that's bothering people the most. Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace have gone almost completely silent. If you've followed this sport for any length of time, you already know why that detail is so strange. Both of these drivers have built their entire reputations on being outspoken. Neither one has ever been the type to stay quiet when controversy walks into the room. Whether fans love them or can't stand them, Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace have never been shy about sharing exactly what's on their mind. And yet, as scrutiny around this Toyota alliance has intensified week after week, neither driver has said a single significant word about it. That silence has not gone unnoticed. One rival competitor reportedly pointed out that if there were ever two drivers who would normally have something to say about a situation like this, it would be exactly those two. The fact that they've chosen to stay quiet has left other competitors wondering what exactly is happening behind the scenes that would cause both of them to hold back. Now, to really understand why this moment feels so different, it helps to look back at how manufacturer alliances have shaped NASCAR history. Because this isn't the first time one brand has tightened its grip on the sport. Go back to the early 2000s, and Chevrolet dominated the Cup Series through powerhouse organizations like Hendrick Motorsports and Richard Childress Racing. For years, those two operations alone combined to win championship after championship, and competitors from other manufacturers raised nearly identical complaints that shared engineering knowledge and manufacturer-level resources were tilting the playing field in ways smaller, independent teams simply couldn't match. Then came the mid-2010s, when Toyota itself was on the other side of this exact argument. When Joe Gibbs Racing first partnered with Toyota, many traditional NASCAR fans and competitors voiced outrage, insisting that a foreign manufacturer pouring resources into one elite team would permanently damage competitive balance. Sound familiar? And of course, there's the Hendrick Motorsports era of total Chevrolet domination, where four-car alliances under one roof became so dominant that NASCAR was forced to introduce new rules around technical cooperation between teams. The pattern is almost always the same. A manufacturer finds an edge. Teams within that manufacturer's umbrella start winning at an outrageous rate. Rivals start asking questions. NASCAR eventually has to decide whether to step in, adjust the rulebook, or let the sport's natural competitive cycle play itself out. So, is what we're seeing with 23 Technology Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing actually new? Or is it simply the latest chapter in a story NASCAR has lived through again and again, just with different manufacturers and different names attached? That's the real question worth sitting with. Now, personally, I think it's important for fans to keep some perspective here. Technical alliances are not new in this sport. Manufacturer support programs are not new in this sport. Organizations working closely together within the same manufacturer family is something that has existed for decades. NASCAR's own rulebook permits certain levels of technical partnership. Simply being successful together does not automatically mean something improper is happening. At the same time, when one manufacturer starts controlling the storyline to this degree, scrutiny becomes inevitable. That's not unique to NASCAR. That's just how every competitive sport works. The more dominant you become, the more attention turns toward you. The more races you win, the more questions people are going to ask. And right now, nobody in this entire sport is attracting more attention than Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, 23 Technology Racing, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Toyota as a whole. Here's the bottom line. 9 wins out of 16 races is a number that simply cannot be ignored. Whether you believe this is the product of elite driving talent, superior engineering, sharper preparation, flawless execution, exceptional manufacturer support, or some combination of every single one of those factors, the results are sitting right there in front of us. And with the playoffs drawing closer every single week, this conversation is not going away. If anything, it's only going to get louder from here. Because if Reddick and Hamlin keep winning at this pace, the pressure on NASCAR to formally evaluate exactly how these two organizations operate together is only going to intensify. So here's what it comes down to for every fan watching this season unfold. Are we witnessing two elite drivers performing at the absolute peak of their careers at the same time, purely by coincidence? Are we simply watching Toyota out-execute every other manufacturer on the grid? Or is there something about the relationship between 23X Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing that genuinely deserves a closer look? Those are the exact questions dominating this sport right now. And until somebody else starts consistently beating these two teams, don't expect those questions to disappear anytime soon. One thing, though, is absolutely certain. Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin have become the defining story of the entire 2026 NASCAR season. Whether you're cheering for them or hoping somebody finally knocks them off that pedestal, they have forced this entire garage, drivers, owners, fans, everyone, to pay attention. And honestly, that's exactly what makes this sport so great. Every single season creates a brand new mystery. Every season builds brand new rivalries. And right now, this Toyota debate has become one of the single biggest talking points we've seen all year long. So let me know what you actually think, because I genuinely want to hear it. Do you believe this is simply the result of two incredible drivers inside two elite organizations performing at an unbelievably high level at the exact same time? Or do you think NASCAR needs to step in and take a serious, formal look at the relationship between 23X Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing? Drop your honest take in the comments below. This community has some of the smartest, most passionate NASCAR fans on the entire internet, and I want this comment section to prove it. And if this video gave you something to think about, if it kept you here, watching, debating, maybe even a little fired up, then do me one favor before you go. Hit that like button, and if you're not already part of this channel, subscribe to NASCAR Report today. We are still building this community from the ground up, one fan at a time, and every single one of you watching right now is a part of that story. We'll be back soon with more honest breakdowns, more deep dives, and more of the conversations this sport isn't always ready to have out loud. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.